Hello, this is Steven Phillips, and this is my CS450 computer graphics final project. What I did was I used some lighting, used some shadowing, and some other elements to represent some molecules and some atoms. So in the long run, I got a couple hydrogen atoms and an oxygen one, and I can combine them together to make the element known as water. So first, as you can see, I just got nothing here. I just got a plain 4. But I'm going to add my first atom now, which would be the first hydrogen one, and I'm going to turn it on. There you go. So from a distance, you can see it's got some shadow effects relative to the ground, and then it got some small rotation. But if we zoom in, you can tell that I put some detail as far as the circle goes. It's a wireframe, and I managed to make the shadow wire. I have that texture look itself. So basically, for the shadow on the wireframe, I just made a circle relevant to it, and then just looped it about 5 times, kind of giving that space, giving that shadow effect. As far as for the shadows themselves, I just took the object, made it flat, and moved it down and gave it a color, kind of make a trick of the eye. And as you can tell, it looks pretty good and doesn't go through the floor. And for the balls themselves, I have a light up here in the center reflecting down. So as you can see, if it's in the center, it's kind of got only reflection on one side of the ball and not the other. Let's see. And as far as the balls themselves, I got some flat textures on them, so you can tell that they're rotating. This ball is rotating on the y-axis, and this ball is just translating, rotating with the ring on the outside, kind of giving that effect itself, like it's connected. And they got their own shadows. So, and then now I'm going to whip out my second hydrogen atom. So I'm going to turn that on too. So it's basically the same thing. I just called it again on the display function, translated it, and it's got the same effects, same shadows, same kind of detail you see into it. And it's what I did is I ran some for loops to just give it that effect. And for the last one, which would be the oxygen atom, so the blue is the electrons, the red is the proton, and then for the oxygen atom, I'm going to turn that on. Boop. So as you can tell, it's got a little more detail and a lot more work. It's got 8, so it's got 8 electrons, 6 on the outside, 2 in the middle. For those, I just did a for loop and kept calling it and kept checking and changing directions. That's how I made all these pretty simple. Shadows, same way. I just made a circle and placed it down. It's also got the effects of the ring going around it, and then the shadow effect on the floor, giving that kind of deception that light. It's got its own shadow. And for the middle, it's got 8 protons and 8 neutrons. So what I did is I did a for loop of the protons back here and just did it 8 times and just slightly changed the position of all of these, and then have it just rotate on the y-axis as well. On the y-axis, giving that effect that it's rotating with the rest of the molecule in the atom. And then I give all those its separate shadows. As you can tell, it's got the lighting on it as well, and it's got the detail of all the others, and that way you can tell it's moving. So the electrons have the same thing, as you can tell as they swing on by, that they also have that sphere effect. And then lastly, so right now they're separated, 2 hydrogens, 1 oxygen, and then if we combine them into H2O, connect. As you can tell, I just translate them in. I have the covalent bond on the hydrogens connect and change colors. So you can tell that's a bond happening. I have the outer ring stop rotating because it doesn't make sense if it just keeps rotating, but I kept the left one the same. That way it just gives that effect of what it's doing, how it's doing. But other than that's about it. That's my hydrogen. I can just disconnect them real quick and they just go back to doing their own thing. But what I'm really proud of is, like I said, through the lighting effect, I gave it lots of detail, and I was able to, I think the hardest part was trying to get the shadow effects to work and everything, because of all the placement and all the looping I had to do to get it to work out correctly. But I managed to make it work, and It looks pretty good. That is it. Thank you.